What's up, graphic designers? In today's class, we're going to be reimagining this cover for this novel, Looking for Jane by Heather Marshall. And here we have a lady who's walking down some sort of corridor. We've got what looks like a grating in the background. We got our rotary and, of course, our title. We're going to be creating something that looks ultimately a little bit like this. We're going to be taking some inspiration, of course, from this Looking for Jane cover. And I'm going to break down precisely how to create this. You'll notice when you look in the layers palette, there's probably about 24 layers. How exactly does this work? Well, before we jump in, I just want to highlight two things. One is that we've got a gradient. I know that you know how gradients and blending modes work. So this is the color blending mode. So I created a circular or radial gradient, and then I applied, I guess, the color blending mode. You're going to experiment. You're going to think about what works best for you. Additionally, you guys are going to notice when you look at this background, and I'll hide this text. Where's the cover? Oh, okay. You know what? It's not that serious. You'll notice that this text, this architecture, it's a little bit blurred out, right? We applied something called the Gaussian blur. And here's without the Gaussian blur applied. It's just desaturated with levels and then the original. So I'm going to talk to you about how to create this effect, where we're going to use the Gaussian blur. And we're going to start with our blank, right? So here's our blank. We've got our subject waiting for us. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search empty old street and Google, and you're going to find one that resonates with you. I'm just an experiment. It's okay to make mistakes. Right click, copy image. I'm going to return to Photoshop, and when we do, we're going to press simply Command V, Command T, and the orientation of this canvas is going to be wider than the original that we're working with, the Looking for Jane cover, and that's okay. That's fine. How do I feel about this? This is all right. I'm not mad about it. I'm going to press Command J. I'm going to press Command Shift U, Command L. We're going to lighten the lights just a tad. We're going to darken the darks, and we might come back to this in a little bit. What I also know is that we've got this little watermark. If we were so inclined, what we can do is simply use the rectangular marquee. We're going to right click. We can select Fill, and we can change contents to content aware. I'm going to press OK, and that's gone. I'm going to press Command 0 to zoom back out. This looks great. What we're going to do is we're going to find our subject. There he is. Object selection, right? I'm going to make a super quick selection. And that looks amazing. Command C, Command V, Command T. I know that Ethan was looking for Photoshop. I'm curious what Tyler is looking for. Is he looking for meaning in life? Is he looking for a soccer ball? What exactly is this dude looking for? All right, so this looks great. I'm going to return to this background layer. I'm going to press Command J one more time, and then we're going to click Filter. This is new, guys, Blur, and we're going to blur it out, and we're going to use something called the Gaussian blur. Okay, and then that's at 41. That's way too much. You're going to experiment, and I'm going to try, I think, right around 10. I think 10 looks great. This looks good. We got to add a little bit of color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click the paint bucket. I'm going to select the gradient. And right now we've got this color right here, which I think looks pretty cool. We're going to press V, hold Shift, plus, plus, plus. We're cycling through so many blending modes. And I think ultimately I would want to return to the color blending mode as well. But I'm going to hide this. I'm going to press Command Shift N, Enter. I'm going to press G for gradient. And you know what? When I draw my attention to all these different gradients, I opened up the orange folder, right? Maybe we want to try iridescent. I think iridescent kind of looks cool. And I'll notice that linear, which is the gradient that we typically use. I'm sorry, the gradient that we typically use. That's the first one. But right now we're experimenting with radial. You can think about what works well for you. Let's try this. And I'm going to press V, hold Shift. I'm cycling through. I don't love this, although this is not bad. Okay, we're going to pretend that this is what we want. Tyler, thanks again for being such a good sport. And when I draw my attention to both the example featuring Ethan or the original cover, I see this rotary dial, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to right click. You're going to find one that you like. We're going to right click. I'm going to select Copy, Photoshop. We're going to press Command V. We're going to bring it to the top, Command T, and this looks great. Now, if you had a, and you know what, if you had sort of a darker background, as we have right here with this deep orange and red, here's what I would recommend that you do. If we change it from normal to multiply, we're going to have something like this. But if we wanted to instead have it so it's inverted, and instead of the numbers and details being black, we could press Command I, so the numbers and details are white, and then we're going to change it not to multiply, but to screen, as we have right here. And I think that looks not bad, but you know what, guys? I'm going to actually press Command I, and I'm going to change it to multiply, and I'm kind of like this. So you guys have a lot of latitude in terms of what you're creating. We're going to add some details. You're going to think about what the title of your text is. One more thing, guys. How do we add this shadow right here, right? As we also have right here. There's lots of different ways to do it, but what I'm going to do simply is hold Command. I'm going to click on the Tyler layer, and I'm going to create a new layer above it. And I'm going to right click from the gradient to the paint bucket. I see black is in the foreground, and I'm going to left click, of course, Command D to deselect. Now what we can do, and this is kind of cool, click Edit, Transform, and what we'll do is we can do a couple different transformations, but if we click Distort, and I'm going to grab each of these corners, so we have a little something like this. Okay. And now all of a sudden, we've got a cool shadow. I'm going to drag it beneath Tyler. And I don't love this shadow, but that's okay. What we're going to do again is we're going to blur it by going to Filter. We're going to go to Blur. We're going to go to Gaussian Blur. And now we're going to boost it from 10, maybe to around 48. That looks great. I'm going to press V. And then 6 to drop the opacity to 60%. Maybe 70%. I like that. And we're going to add some text. We're going to add some other visuals. You're going to add some layer styles. I also noticed, last thing, we've got this border right here, right? There's so much going on. How are we going to create this border? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rectangular marquee. I'm going to go from the upper left hand to the lower right hand corner. And I'm going to put this on the very top layer. And what I'll do is, we've got black in the foreground, and for right now, that's okay. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to select stroke. I notice that the width is 6 pixels, and I like that. We're going to press, make sure the center is the location. We're going to press OK. Beautiful. Command D. Sounds good. You'll notice from the original inspiration, we've got kind of a gradient. It's like a light gray to sort of a darker color as we shift from the top to the bottom. And we're going to try to achieve something a little bit like that. And to create that effect, what we're going to do is click the effects, and we're going to click gradient overlay. And here's what I know. I know all of a sudden that we've got this gradient on right now. And actually, if we make it basics, black and white, and I press OK, we've got something that looks a little bit like this. And you know what, guys? I'm not mad about this. I think this looks pretty cool. I'm going to press Command J. So we copied it. I'm going to press Command T. And I noticed that this little paper clip is linking the width and the height. And if I click 100% on the height and roll or scroll the mouse wheel one click, one little notch, it's going to bring it to 99%. And that looks amazing. And I'm going to press Command J one more time. Command T. I'm going to go to the 100%, roll the mouse wheel one last time. And you know what? I don't think it copied. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to press OK. And now all of a sudden, when we zoom in, would you look at that? We've got this really cool border with a nice gradient. We're going to be creative. We're going to add text, details. You're going to let me know if you have any questions. I cannot wait to see the quality of your work. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.